another episode of Make It Memorable. On today's episode, we're going to teach you how you can make the most memorable virtual dinner party at home. I'm your host, Brianna Williams.
And I'm Daniela Smallwood.
And we're super excited to show you guys how you can transform your home and your dining space into a great, memorable virtual dinner party.
Yes. Well, Brianna, I love that we are not in the kitchen today, but we are here in a cozy, warm space to be able to share with you some great tips on how you can have a wonderful virtual event. So one of the things that we're focused on in the month of November is really enjoying gratitude and practicing gratitude and being thankful for the people who are in our lives. And so usually Thanksgiving is one of those holidays that kicks off the gratitude season. And so as we go into holiday season, it's also party season, right?
Right.
And so what we want to do is we want to give you some tips on how you can maintain your social distancing and still connect with the people that you love and care about. So we're going to break this into a couple different episodes for you so that you can grab it in bite-sized pieces and really get your virtual party on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't you think so?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Okay, so we're going to break it into 4 different quadrants of planning your best virtual event. And the first thing is planning. So it's planning. Number 2 is creating. Number 3 is communicating. And then number 4, what is it, Brianna?
Party.
Yes, you gotta have the party. That's the best part. So we're gonna start off by talking about the planning stage. And so the planning stage is so important in having a virtual event because you've got to figure out what exactly are you doing. So when we look at developing our plan for our virtual party, the first thing we have to discover is what's our theme going to be. That theme is your vibe. It's how everyone's going to feel. It sets the tone for your event. So we're going to do this in real time with you. So Brianna, let's talk about Thanksgiving is coming up. We're not able to have our traditional Thanksgiving in the dining halls. So that means that everyone's going to be doing Take and Enjoy Thanksgiving this year. So why don't we walk through planning a virtual Friendsgiving event? How's that sound?
Great.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to start with the theme. So the first thing you want to do when you're planning your virtual event is you got to come up with a theme. So what's going to be the vibe for the Friendsgiving event that you're planning?
Well, for me, when I think of Thanksgiving, I think warm, cozy, a family-like atmosphere. So let's go with a fall, cozy, and fuzzy, warm Thanksgiving.
Oh, I love that idea of just like sweaters and wraps and apple cider.
Yes.
We brought our apple cider with us just to kind of set the tone and set the mood because we have to have some fun while we're doing this too, right?
Right.
And so I love that. So do you want to, let's give it a theme, like a name. How about friends, fuzzies, Friends, fuzzies, and fireplaces. How's that sound?
Ooh, I love that.
All right, so you see how we came up with kind of like the vibe of how we wanted to feel, and then she kind of came up with who she wants there, and then we kind of came up with a really cool tagline for it. So we're going to be developing the Friendsgiving 2020 Friends, Fuzzies, and Fireplaces. I really like that. I think that's really cool. So you want to kind of get an idea of what the theme is, what the feeling is. So, and when we think about that theme, do you want them to wear something special? Do you want them to be in a special environment? What are you thinking? Do you want it to be formal, informal, casual? How do you want it to feel?
And so this is a great thing about virtual events is that even though we're not together, you can still customize it and get everyone to come along, get to with a theme and really make it a full event. So for our fuzzy and friendly Thanksgiving, I'm thinking have our guests wear nice sweaters and maybe fuzzy pullovers, whatever makes them feel the most comfortable. Maybe curl up on their couch by the fireplace and really set that mood, that fuzzy and warm feeling.
I love that. Okay, awesome. So once you kind of set the theme and the vibe of your event, the next thing you have to talk about is the food, because the food is the hero of a dinner party, right?
Of course.
Okay, so there's so many different ways that you can plan your dinner party. So with it being virtual, you have to think outside the box. Of course, when you do an event in person and you do a dinner party, it's pretty much you're either going to do a potluck or you're going to actually create and cook all the food for everyone and they enjoy it, or you're going to to get a caterer, right? Those are typically your three options. So when you're doing a virtual event, you have very similar options. So number one, you can send recipes to everyone and everyone can cook the same meal and then have it together. You could prepare the food and then send the food to everyone for them to pick up. You could kind of like cater it, like faux cater it by sending everyone Uber Eats before the event if you got the big bucks for it. Or if you're balling on a budget, like many of our college students are, you can utilize the dining hall. What do you think about that for Friendsgiving?
That's great. And so for most of your dining halls, they will be hosting some sort of Thanksgiving premium meal where you can go to your dining hall and pick up a delicious Thanksgiving meal. So for students that happen to be on campus around that time, definitely feel free to go out to your dining hall, figure out when they're hosting that event, and that's a great way to get that Thanksgiving meal at school.
I love it. So for our friends, Fuzzies, and Fireplaces event, what we'll do with the virtual event is we'll tie it to the day that the dining hall is doing the Thanksgiving meal. And so the meal will actually be catered through the campus dining program. I love that idea.
Perfect.
All right, so now that you kind of know what the theme is, you've got your vibe, you figured out your food, the next thing you got to figure out is your guest list.
Yes.
And so you want to make sure that you have the right people there. So what are some ways that our guests can figure out our viewers can figure out how they want to invite their guests?
Yeah, definitely. So it depends on what mood you're going for. If you want to keep it in your close friends list, your circle, you can invite your closest friends. Say you're willing to open it up and invite friends from different areas throughout the country, and you want to create a space where people can meet and make new friends that way. You can, if you want to do it more family oriented, you can decide, okay, I just want to invite my family to this event. So really, that's the great thing about the virtual event is that you can invite anyone from anywhere and really make it whatever you want to be.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And you're right. The limits are off when you have a virtual event because you don't have the physical location as a barrier anymore. So I think that's a great idea and some great tips on how you can put together your guest list. So then you want to start writing down your guest list and see who am I going to invite to this virtual party. And then last but not least is your venue. And so there are plenty of virtual venues that you can utilize for your event. You can use Zoom, which is one that most people are using in the face of this pandemic. That's kind of like everyone's fan favorite, right? But there's some other ones that you can use as well. Facebook Groups has they have the Facebook Rooms feature now that you can utilize. It's very similar to a Zoom type of feature. There's also Google Hangouts is another one that's lots of fun that you can utilize. And then depending on your family, like I have an iPhone family, so we do a lot of family FaceTime, so you can use FaceTime, or if you're a Google family, you can use Google Duo. So there's great options out there for you to choose your venue. So as you're planning this event, what would be your recommended one?
So for me personally, I love Zoom because it encompasses so many different things. We'll get into this more later on, but it's a great way to not only meet each other on the screen, but do icebreakers, to just really do different activities with your guests and make it more of an interactive experience that you might not be able to get with different platforms.
Awesome. All right. I like Zoom too. So that's a really good one. So by now you should have put together your theme, your vibe, kind of got your vibe together, what you want it to feel like. You should have put together your guest list. You should have determined what your dinner or your meal is going to be. And last but not least, you should have chosen your virtual venue. So that's going to get you started on the road to a memorable virtual event. Meet us at the next episode when we talk about the next stage of planning a memorable virtual event, which is the actual creating. All right. Are you ready to get creative?
I'm ready.
All right. We'll see you in the next episode.